When talking about power in the Naruto or the Boruto verse, the Otsutsuki Clan sits at a level far beyond the realm of any other shinobi. The Otsutsuki Clan are powerful alien beings that travel dimensions to plant god trees and harvest chakra to transcend into a god. Alright, so today in this video, I'm going to be ranking the members of the Otsutsuki Clan from the bottom to the top. So without wasting any time, let's start off with the weakest Otsutsuki, which is Indra and Ashura Otsutsuki. Well, first things first, Ashura Otsutsuki is the son of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, aka the Sage of the Six Paths. And as for his powers, Ashura had a chakra avatar which looks very similar to Kurama without a tailed beast. And on top of that, Ashura had extremely high chakra reserves that he got from Hagoromo with TSO. And having the ability to use TSO or the truth-seeking orbs indicates that Ashura also had six-path Sei Senjutsu, which was stated by Hagoromo. Well, Hagoromo himself says that he gave a lot more power to Ashura compared to Indra, causing more conflict between the two. As for Indra, Indra had the Sharingan and Susanoo with Hagoromo's DNA, making him incredibly powerful. And Indra was portrayed to be a lot more talented than Ashura for the most part. Well, a lot of people get confused by the anime where Ashura one-shots Indra with 1,000 hands and teamwork, but that did not happen in the manga. So yes, Indra and Ashura should be very close to Madara and Hashirama before Madara got six paths powers. Alright, so now let's move on to number 9, which is Toneri Otsutsuki. Well, as of right now, Toneri's biggest feat so far was splitting the moon in half. Then Toneri was also strong enough to keep up with KCM Naruto for a while until he got one-shotted by base Naruto. A lot of people like to bring up this poster to essentially say that Toneri is the strongest opponent Naruto faced. While it could be true, Kaguya and Hagoromo have shown much more impressive feats, and Toneri's entire point was being like Hamura. Alright, so moving on, number 8, we've got Kinshiki Otsutsuki. First things first, Kinshiki was stated to have the power to split an entire planet in the Naruto databook. And the reason why this is probably not an hyperbole is because even Toneri split the entire moon in half without even trying, and same goes for Naruto. Then Kinshiki was also able to go toe-to-toe against Sasuke, who's relative to Naruto. And in the Boruto movie, Kinshiki also goes on to fight the 4 Kage with Sasuke at the same time. And this is kind of where the fraud allegations come in, as the 4 Kage are frauders. But to argue against it, Kinshiki broke out of the 4 Kage's control extremely fast when Momoshiki told him to link up. So yes, Kinshiki does have some of the best strength and speed feats, but he simply does not have the amount of hacks like Kaguya or Hagoromo. Alright, so moving on, number 7, we have Hamura Otsutsuki. So Hamura is one of the 2 sons of Kaguya and the brother of Hagoromo. As for Hamura's best feat so far, he teamed up with Hagoromo to take down Kaguya, which took them several months. And they managed to essentially seal Kaguya into the moon by using planetary devastation to create a moon. Mind you, Kaguya is able to create and destroy her space-time out of nothingness. Well, I've done plenty of Kaguya scaling before, but to make my point more prominent, Kaguya spends more chakra switching between her own 2 dimensions as compared to warping the Naruto universe with her own dimension. So this indicates that her dimensions are larger, if not comparable to the Naruto universe. So chances are Hamura also had space-time ninjutsu with great AP to damage her. Alright, so moving on, number 7, we have Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Well, first things first, Hagoromo has 2 Rinnegan with a 3rd eye that looks very similar to a distorted version of the Rinne Sharingan. Hagoromo also became the 10-tailed Jinchuriki, and the 10-tails is far stronger than all the tailed beasts combined. And considering all the tailed beasts loved Hagoromo, there's a good chance that Hagoromo can also go Baryon mode. Well, even if Baryon mode is not possible, Hagoromo still gave Naruto and Sasuke half his power and has everything Naruto and Sasuke have, but even better. For example, instead of having 1 Rinnegan, Hagoromo has 2, and instead of the 9 tails, Hagoromo has the 10 tails. So yes, Hagoromo is definitely very strong. Alright, so moving on, number 5, we have the rapid goddess Kaguya Otsutsuki. So as we know, Kaguya can warp the Naruto universe and create a dimension out of nothingness. And Kaguya can also erase space-time and matter itself while destroying her space-time. Plus, one feat a lot of people don't talk about is that Kaguya was able to one-shot Sasuke Susanoo. And Kaguya's chakra rods can damage you at a molecular level, as we saw with Obito. And the most terrifying part about fighting Kaguya is that she can just transport you to the ice dimension where you get hypothermia, and without space-time ninjutsu, it's near impossible to beat Kaguya. Alright, so now moving on, number 4, we have the GOAT Momoshiki Otsutsuki. So Lord Momoshiki, even in his base form, was portrayed to be superior to Kaguya. And to back it up, Kaguya feared Momoshiki so much to the point she was creating Waizetsu army to fight against Momoshiki and Kinshiki. And it's also been stated that Momoshiki is a far greater threat than Kaguya. And as for Momoshiki's feats, Momoshiki's dimensions are about universe sized, and to back it up you can see a redshift nebula which indicates an expanding universe. Another scan into Momoshiki's dimension, you can see many stars inside of it and they're distant apart. And then Momoshiki also went on to fight Naruto and Sasuke at the same time and one-tap all the 5 Kage after fusing with Kinshiki. And in a one-on-one fight, Momoshiki definitely does beat Naruto or Sasuke unless Naruto decides to go Baryon mode. Alright, so moving on, number 3, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Isshiki Otsutsuki. So unlike any other Otsutsuki, Isshiki was the only Otsutsuki who once had both Naruto and Sasuke at once. And despite not having his full lifespan, he still outlasted Naruto and turned Sasuke into a surfboard. And Isshiki was also one of the only Otsutsuki that was stated to be high rank. And as for Ishiki's powers and abilities, Isshiki has a Kyokugan which grants him Sukuna Hikona that lets him shrink objects into microscopic sizes and revert them back. And then Isshiki has a Daikokuten, a timeless dimension where he stores his cubes. So Isshiki himself should be twice as strong as any other Otsutsuki. Alright, so moving on to the second strongest Otsutsukis, we have Boruto and Kawaki. As of right now, it's quite clear that both Boruto and Kawaki have surpassed Isshiki. The reason is because Boruto went on to one-shot Code without limiters, who was stated to be stronger than Jigen. Plus the fact that Boruto's Rasengan Uzuhiko has no limit when it comes to power, and the Flying Rajin as well. And also the fact that Boruto one-shotted Hidari Shinju. Not to mention that if Boruto gives Momoshiki his body, he's going to be unstoppable. And as for Kawaki, he has mastery over all of Ishiki's powers, including Sukuna Hikona and Chakra Rods. And right now, he should be relative to Boruto after getting his limiters taken off by Amato. Alright, so now let's move on to the strongest Otsutsuki, and it's the Otsutsuki who transcended into a god. So it's quite obvious that Shibai is by far the strongest Otsutsuki, as he's absorbed many planets and stars and transcended into a god. And on top of that, Lord Shibai also has mastery over all types of Shinjutsu like Kashin Koji's 10 Directions ability that lets him see into all future timelines, and he can also rewrite reality itself with Ida's omnipotence. And additionally, Shibai also has Daimon's reflection ability that lets him reflect all attacks with a Kyokugan that can shrink the size of anything and codes claw marks to teleport anywhere. And it's also been stated that Shibai can summon an entire storm or even a tornado with the palms of his hands.